What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about falling out of love or getting complacent in relationships or marriages. Somebody asked me, please make a video about married people falling out of love and getting too comfortable with each other where they don't show love or affection with each other and don't take time for each other. Okay, I suppose I can do that. I'm married, but a lot of people aren't married, so I won't make this from the premise of marriage as much as from the premise of long-term relationships, right? Or marriage, or whatever you might be in. A lot can be said about the idea of being in love with a person, right? But I think that sometimes this belief that everything always has to be hot, always has to be fiery, and always has to be intense and passionate is just unrealistic. We watch so many movies that make us think that a relationship is either supposed to be super hot or cold, but always passionate, always, embroiled in some level of emotion. And that's just not the case. I think that sometimes people who have tumultuous childhoods or backgrounds or who have been conditioned to a certain level of stress sometimes mistake peace for boredom, right? So that's something that we never really talk about. We always hear about how people fall out of love and things of that nature. But when you think about love is just really kind of like being in love anyway. It's a passionate desire for each other. It's excitement about being around each other. It's glee and joy and fervor for being in each other's presence, or lovemaking, or whatever one might do as a couple or two might do as a couple. But that level of excitement and that level of positive stress isn't realistically supposed to be indefinite and forever. I just don't believe that. I think it comes and goes. It has phases where it's better and it has phases when it's worse. Now you can completely lose it, right? Which is, I think, the point of her question is, what happens when people completely lose it? And of course, it happens when you stop being affectionate and stop being considerate of each other and stop working on the relationship. But sometimes it requires work in the relationship to just be positive or to just be happy or to just be excited to be around your partner. Sometimes we get a little boring. Sometimes we get a little complacent. And I think that too often, if a person is not feeling a raging fire, then they blame their partner for not being good enough or not being exciting enough, right? We start to call things boring and we start to resent our partners for the excitement we're not having. And we watch social media and a bunch of movies and people appear to be much more in love and much more fiery about each other, much more passionate about their relationships. Too often that passion is triggered by trauma, it's triggered by drama, it's triggered by uncertainty, right? It's triggered by forbidden relationships, right? When we look at how Hollywood portrays love, there's usually some element of that in any relationship that we're supposed to root for. In real life, you go to work, you come home, you eat dinner, you shit, you sleep, and you do it again the next day. That will lead to some complacency, some mundane moments in your relationship. That doesn't mean you give up or you just let it happen. But you do also have to accept that that's a part of life, that's a part of a healthy relationship. Is to have no excitement going on, no trauma, no chasing, no checking phones, no cheating. None of those things that would create that stress, whether it be positive or negative, that brings excitement into your relationship. Sometimes boredom is peace. Now, again, I think intention should to be applied to peace. If you catch you and your partner not being affectionate with each other and that has become a phase, you can change that programming. You can always insert the things that you're not getting enough of in your relationships. You can always be the change you wish to see in your love life. If you want more hugs, give more hugs. If you want more kisses, give more kisses. Create a culture around saying nice things if you need more compliments. If you want more sexuality, be more sexual. If you want more romance, touch more, kiss more, cuddle more. You can usher in the things that you want and the things that you are lacking to feel more passionate about your partner in your relationship. Because it's all about culture. To her point in the comment, when people stop being affectionate and getting comfortable in a relationship and they fall out of love, that doesn't have to happen, or it doesn't have to happen for long. If you notice that that's happening and you care about your relationship, you want it to last, all you have to do is reverse culture Every phase of your relationship is brought on by the culture established. Sometimes in your lives, you're too stressed out. You got goals you're trying to hit, so you're focused on your goals, and so you're kissing less, and you're getting up later, or you're getting up earlier, and you're going to work later. Or there's a family thing, somebody's not healthy, some stress happens, somebody dies. Like, all kind of things happen that pull you out of your programming to be romantic, to be loving, to be caring, to be nurturing. But you can always usher those things back in. The best thing you can do is identify the things that brought you together, the things that were your favorite, the things that gave you the most security in your relationship at one point, and actively make a plan to do those things more often if you've fallen out of rhythm with those things and they're no longer an expectation between the two of you. Just like you can fall out of love, you can fall back in love with each other through those romantic endeavors. But again, to think it's always going to be there every year for the rest of your life, to think that you won't have to work for it, you won't have to be intentional about it, to think that you can just wait for it to happen or wait for it to come back is foolishness. Too often I speak to women who are leaving their husbands who are good guys simply because they've grown bored, right? They think that the peace that they have in their relationship is some kind of signal that it's not supposed to be them, that it's supposed to be someone else, that they have another soulmate that's going to bring them more excitement. They're chasing excitement when all they have to do is tend to their relationships. They're giving their husbands the same boring experience he's giving them, but somehow or another, it's that man's fault that the relationship's not working out when she's looking for her work husband to give her the validation that she could be giving her husband to get it back from him. They look toward the guys they're cheating with or the guys they are hoping to cheat with or dreaming to cheat with to give them the validation that all they have to do is add to their relationships again. Every woman who's bored in her relationship isn't a victim. Sometimes she's just getting what she's given. Sometimes all they both need is a reminder that these things are valuable and important. And instead of talking about them, demonstrating by just doing those things will lead to the changes necessary. Too often I have a talk with a client who doesn't feel like there's enough romance in our relationship and I ask her what she's done about it. And she says, well, we talked about it. I told him that I'm not happy in the relationship and there is not enough romance. I said, but what did you do about it? Well, what do you mean? I talked to him about it. Why is that his problem alone? You realize that he's a mirror of you in your relationship. He's probably not feeling loved and catered to or romanced either. Maybe he's having some issues in those areas as well. Maybe the idea of it being his issue solely and being presented as something that he has to fix contributes to his lack of effort. Maybe instead of telling a man, I have this problem, so this is your problem, fix it, isn't the answer. Maybe a more collaborative, what can we both do to make each other feel more loved and more cherished conversation needs to happen. Instead of, I'm not happy. You don't do this. You don't do that. You never take me anywhere. You don't make plans. You. To be quite honest, sometimes it seems like if a woman's not happy, it's a man's problem. And if a man's not happy, it's still a man's problem. I always tell my clients, you can be right or you can be happy. They say, well, what does that mean? I say, well, you can actually do something about the issues that you're encountering in your relationship. You can actually contribute those things and pour those things into your relationship to build a new culture. Or you can just complain about them not existing in your relationship and let it die. You can look for that validation or those excitements in other places through other means, through other men, which women often do. Or you can pour into your relationship the type of love that you want to have and communicate to your partner a mutual goal that you'd like to have to do more, starting with action. You can collaborate with your partner to bring each other better and more, instead of just falling out of love and then looking for it in other places. Too often we don't develop the skill set of learning how to reverse course. So we have relationship after relationship after relationship that started great and failed or died or fizzled off because we fell out of love. Real love takes effort. Lasting love takes effort. Marriage takes effort. Commitment takes effort. You're not always going to get butterflies around your spouse. You're not always going to be passionately into them. Sometimes you're just going to be next to them. Sometimes you're just going to be looking at them. Sometimes you're just going to forget they're there because we have other shit going on. Everything can't be about keeping it hot and fiery all the time. But when you notice that you've gotten away from that, be the change you wish to see in your relationship and then communicate to your partner in a way that also offers them an opportunity to communicate the things that they want more of. From that point, the best thing you can do to ignite action in your partner is to apply action to the things that they asked for or the things that they themselves are lacking or wanting more of in a relationship. Now, if after giving everything that you have and actually doing it instead of just complaining about it, you still don't have a relationship or a partner who's willing to meet you in the middle. Now you can accept that you've fallen out of love and this is just not worth it. If you have a partner who's unwilling to try, unwilling to work with you, unwilling to collaborate to make sure that your relationship lasts and is healthy and happy and whole and satiating and all of those things. But before you talk about falling out of love and, finding somebody else, if you have somebody with integrity, if you have somebody with decency, if you have somebody who's treated you well, if you have somebody who's considerate, who's respectful, who's dependable, do what you can to add to that relationship those things that are missing before you hit the streets, so to speak. Everybody's not always in love, but that doesn't mean you can't get back to that position. You just have to stop looking everywhere else outside of your relationship. Stop looking for other people. Stop having wandering eyes and focus on your partner. Also, stop comparing your relationship to everybody else's relationship, especially if you see a relationship on social media or in a movie somewhere. That can't be how your love works. Your love is what you made it, not some movie director. Follow me at Kevic24 on Instagram. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It really helps the channel. And also hit the notification bell so you get notified when I drop a new video, because a lot of my subscribers don't even know when I'm dropping new videos and it's killing my views. So follow me at Kevic24 on Instagram. I'll get with y'all later.